Hi, it's Joe Morgan with the Tech Leader Spotlight podcast, where we interview tech leaders to learn about their journey and leadership lessons learned along the way. This show is brought to you by the Tech Professional Money Operating System, where we help tech professionals who know they're doing well financially, but aren't certain if it's enough. And they also want to make sure that they achieve more with the finances they currently have. So, in other words, we help you invest cash wisely, make the most of stock awards, minimize your tax bill, and overall create clarity and confidence so you can spend less time worrying about your money and more time living the life you want. If you'd like more information, look me up on LinkedIn. That's Joe Morgan at Best Financial Life. Today on our podcast, I'm very excited to have Shriram Vellaichamy, who is a software engineer at Walmart and an experienced leader who specializes in leading successful teams and projects while collaborating cross-functionally. Welcome to the podcast, Shriram.
Hi, Joe. Hello, everyone.
So,
Glad to be here.
yeah, great. So you specialize in leading successful teams and projects while collaborating cross-functionally. Tell me a little
Mhm.
bit about that. What does that phrase mean to you?
Okay. Sure. As a software engineer, my scope of work is not just, coding and then responsible for, delivering that expected work out of me. So I have to go beyond my scope of work, just to collaborate the teams, the cross-functional teams within the organization. So let's say that if there is any new feature comes up, we don't have to necessarily start from scratch. Probably some other team might be already having that feature. So we need to communicate with the teams and see what's the existing, products available within that organization, and is there anything we can do to tweak it or to make it better for our use case. If it works for best, then of course, we can just leverage, their work according to for our use case. As a software engineer, most part of the time, you have to identify the existing, if there is any existing solution already available for your use case, rather than trying to create everything from scratch. So
That's
that's what
interesting.
I'm, yeah.
So how in large organizations, how do
hmm
you stay on top of all of that? Like how do you know that there's, some piece of software somewhere else that
hmm
you can use?
Yeah, that's a great question. So yeah, like you mentioned, that is very easy to get lost, with the different organizations, teams, and structures. So the good point to start is, every organization will have some architectural meeting, like quarterly meeting or like a monthly meeting, depends on the organization. So as a developer, initially some people may join, but again, the scope of the topics they discussed, they may feel a little bit disconnect with that topic because that's not something they daily use in their work. So after some time, they'll lose interest and then they'll drop off the meeting. So that one thing, we have to do better for the, to understand how that whole organization works, right? So sometimes it doesn't have to relate to your directly relate to your work. You just have to be there just to understand, what others are doing and how as a whole organization, which trajectories, is going on. So rather than just not focusing on your team or your deliverables. So that helps, and of course, during COVID, there was a trend, but now, most of the people are going back to office. So you get to interact with the people during coffee breaks, tea breaks. So that sort of interaction, definitely will help. And also, if there is any new feature comes up, of course, we don't have to straight away jump into, planning or designing the solution. That could be like at least a week time just to collaborate and then brainstorm with the other teams, our fellow architects, just to see, get their opinion about, okay, this is what we are trying to implement. Do you know if anyone is having this solution currently, or is there something we can do, from the scratch? So based out of those discussion, a lot of the information will come up as actually.
Wow, that's great. So what I take from that is that in order to do this job well, you've got to be very curious. You've got to
Uh-huh.
be able to network, and
Uh-huh.
you got to like really be able to be interested in those connections. And
Yes, sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's definitely right. And add to one more point to that, like of course, like in a bigger organization, there will be like a hackathons or once in a while the developer conference they used to conduct. So you have to be more actively participate in that to get like more visibility across all the teams and domains.
yeah, makes sense. So I'm really interested in what you think about our first question, our first typical question, which is what does leadership in the tech space mean to you?
Okay. Okay. So yeah, that was the thing. Like when I saw the question, it really made me to introspect my whole career, what I went through and everything. So yeah. So
I
for
hope it was
me,
good. I hope that was a good experience.
yeah, it seems to be a straightforward question, but it was very deep and profound question as well, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, of course, based on the perspective, the answers might differ. But from my perspective, what I feel is like, leadership is more about empathy.
Mm.
Of course, you have to focus on deliverables and keeping on to the timelines and everything. But at the same time, at the end of the day, we're working with humans as well, right? So you need to be respectful about their time and their work-life balance and everything. And apart from all these things, you need to provide a friendly environment where people is comfortable enough to ask questions and admit their mistakes and challenge their existing framework, why certain things are done this way, why cannot be done so and so way. So you need to create that friendly environment for people to come out of the shell, to be able to interact with the whole team, and not in the fear of being judged, or not in the fear of something will be reflected at later point of time. So that is the very key point for me. So the leader is the one who listens the most to the team, so for me. And also it's not about the title or the package you receive. So it's more
Mhm.
about the trust the team has on you, and the influence you have on the team as well. So that's more
Yeah.
critical, yeah.
Yeah. Great. Yeah, the whole collaboration in this industry to me is super fascinating, which is why I love doing this podcast and talking to people, because my industry, the financial industry, doesn't work
Hmm.
like that. Like even
Uh-huh.
learning, growing up in the industry, it's competitive, hyper competitive from day one,
Mm-hmm.
which I never really appreciated, never really enjoyed. But I love the answers that I hear on this podcast, and the empathy comes up a lot, and that is amazing, to be able to, um, for the leader to have the freedom from their employer to allow the employees to function in this way is really really an amazing thing. And it's kind of the only way that this job works, right? Because it is so demanding, and so much creativity is involved.
Yeah, true. In general, as a software industry, it's more of a teamwork. Of course, there are individual contributors, but at the end of the day, it's more of a teamwork. So that emphasis is always on that. So you could be great coder. You could create like 100 lines of code in a given time. But it's more about the soft communications, right? Like soft communication skills, how you interact with the fellow team members, how you are communicating your idea you have on your mind, and then transform into your actual product. So that plays more important role. So yeah, like you mentioned, yes, the teamwork at the end of the teamwork is the one which matters a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, with all of this teamwork that's going on, we've got some challenges in the industry as well, which
Yeah,
is a lot of layoffs across the board. And I don't
true.
think those are done yet. I think there's probably more to come. So my question for you is, what piece of advice would you recommend for people to make themselves more resilient in the
Mhm.
face of layoffs?
Okay, this is something, I'm giving that advice to myself as well while answering.
Yeah.
So yeah, first of all, you need to understand that it's a business decision. It's not reflective about your performance. First you need to understand that part. And second of all, as a developer, we tend to focus on more on our work, a 9 to 5, we tend to completely focus on our work. We may along the, down the line, we may forget to learn more, out of the scope of our work,
Mhm.
and network with other people. We tend to keep those things as a back seat while at the later point of our journey. So to handle this particular tough situations like layoffs, you need to mindful about continuous learning, and also you need to establish a professional network on your own. So not just on your organization or team, you need to interact with the fellow developers from other organizations as well. So the great platform to meet those different individuals, or go to conference, at least make a checklist that okay, at least for in a given year I need to go and attend like 3 or 4 conferences, which could be happening in your city as well, based on where you live. And also there is always a option to mentor for fellow who are just graduating, or who are just starting their career. So you need to be more active in those platforms to mentor those people. So in fact, like I mentored one of my college juniors, so that experience taught me a lot. I thought I had something, but the kind of questions I had to answer, for him, it kind of opens up different perspectives for me. Though it was a completely learning opportunity for me as well. So it's a gave an option to reinvent myself. So
So
yeah,
let's so let, let's dig into that a little bit. So
Mhm.
mentoring, so you're saying that mentoring somebody else is a
Mhm.
good way to create resiliency for yourself.
Mhm. Mhm.
And one of the things I heard you say was, I'll paraphrase, I'll say it differently, but they're going to ask you questions in a way that maybe you haven't thought about things. Is that what
Yes,
you're
true.
saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. So then
Yeah.
you've got to like solidify your thought process.
Yes, correct.
Oh,
Yeah, you're spot on. Yeah. So yeah, while having those conversations, there will be moments that you realize that, oh yeah, this is something I'm missing for myself as well, right? So whenever you're advising something, it's easy to preach. But when after the conversation, you realize that is it something I'm following in my day-to-day life? So that sort of introspection helps to, help us on the track as well.
that's great. I have not heard that before, the mentoring. So you've
Mm.
mentored one person, or have you done that multiple times?
I mentored my college juniors back in India, but here it's more about that I used to go for an events just for like to get an idea, like to just to be in sync with what are the latest technologies in the market right now.
Yeah.
So as part of that, I had to there was one internship happen, which is like for a who I mean for the people who wants to A. So there is one platform they gave. I mean, in Dallas there was no internship opportunity. So basically, every week they will teach a certain aspects of AI, and at the end of that 3 months time, we have to build up a project to to showcase our understanding about AI.
Hmm.
So of course it gives like different, you get to meet a different people from all walks of life, not just fellow developers, people who just started their career, they could be there, and people who are in the managerial position, they will also be in your team. So that sort of diverse team members to interact with the diverse team members, it provided a great learning opportunity for everyone, for each and every one of us.
Terrific, terrific.
Yeah.
Great. Okay,
So
let's
it's
move.
basically to step out of your comfort zone once in a while to understand like how others works as well. Yeah.
Yeah, and that goes with the curiosity and the networking, and like all of these things seem to
Mhm.
fit together, right? So there's a
Mhm.
personality type that really
Yeah,
does well
yeah.
in this. Okay, great.
And to answer your earlier question, yeah, and also, as a developer, we need to build our personal, portfolio. So, be it writing a blog once in a while, like, and be regularly posting on LinkedIn, about the things you learned, or the commentary of whatever the technology you feel from your perspective. So those sort of things will help you, to stay active in your professional network as well. And also, whenever you are applying for a job, not just your resume, you can just provide your GitHub link, and then like personal blog, or like your Medium portfolio. That gives us like definitely add some competitive edge to your profile as well.
Yeah, great. All good advice. Let's go on to the next question. So, what is the most important financial decision that you've made in your tech career, whether it's about compensation or equity or job change or personal spending? So, what's the most important financial decision that you made?
Okay. To be honest, first 1 year or 2 years of my life, I mean, once I started my professional career, I didn't plan much about I didn't care about the financial planning at all. I was just like, oh God, now I'm earning so much money. I just have to, enjoy. So
Yeah,
I was in
sure.
that mode. So, get a nice car and all those things.
Yeah,
But after that 1 or 2 years, eventually the reality, will, will try to settle in. For me, it's not if when I'm taking up a new opportunity, it's not just about, the package only. So it's about like, how well I can grow in that opportunity, sorry, in the
yeah,
position. And also, how well I can maintain my work-life balance in that position. And also what are the platform, I could leverage to learn to improve myself through that opportunity. So it's not about, one, if it is like a higher salary, we can go for it right away. It's not, you have to weigh in different factors to make sure that, whether it aligns with your core values, and down the line, I mean, it's along. the career trajectory you envision for yourself, you have to make sure that it's aligned with that as well. So once you have that clarity, uh, once you made that right decisions, it gave a uh, it gave a freedom to explore different things in my life at later point of time, right? So because I'm not in earning mode all the time, I'm have to be in a balanced position to make a right decision as well. So that helped me, and also to explore more about financial planning as well. So the one thing most of us hate was just to write down what are the expenses you are doing currently, right? So that's the very first thing I did. It was a very boring work initially, but once you start to write down what are the expenses, monthly expenses, for a given month, then you will start to understand your spending pattern, and then you will realize like how much you are spending on so and so and where you can improve. So that's one thing I would say. And the second thing is, of course, like with the uncertainty in the tech market right now, you need to be financially stable as well, like when the layoffs
Yeah.
happen. So you need to keep some sort of emergency fund, or some sort of cushion, financial cushion as well. So for that, yeah, you need to make a right investment, be it in a ETF stock. You can be more conservative, or you can be more aggressive based on your financial interest. But again, you have to start somewhere on that.
Yeah, a lot of great stuff there. So I like the fact that you choose a job path or career path based on not just the compensation, but
Hmm.
ability to grow and the platform and the work-life balance.
Hmm.
And then understanding your spending, spending is so important, and it's something that we none of us want to look at. But
Yeah.
if you actually look at your spending,
Hmm.
you will your spending will tell you what you are valuing. Now, whether or not
Hmm.
that's actually what you value,
Hmm.
you don't know, but until you look at it. And so you will
Yeah,
you
true.
will find obviously these, why am I spending so much on this or that or
Hmm.
whatever? And what that is, that's a conversation of in your own head is, I'm spending money on things I don't value, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
And you
Hmm.
can't, it's so easy to spend money to do that. It's so easy to spend money, especially in the high cost of living areas.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's so easy to spend money on things you don't
Yeah,
value.
true.
So you got to look at your spending. So I like that. And then emergency fund, of course, because these layoffs that are out
Hmm.
there, but then other challenges are out there too, which are
Hmm.
not so good. Yeah. Well, thank you
Also,
so
like
much, Shriram.
tons of apps and like other AI tools are available to to
Yeah.
make it like more easier. But still, I prefer the old school way. Write down each and everything, type it down, so that gives like a more clarity about what you are spending. So yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point, because you don't want to, I mean, looking at summary data is fine, but
Hmm.
you need to see the transactional data,
Correct.
because
Correct.
that's where what's happening. That's where the decision point is.
Yeah.
And so if you're making bad decisions and you're only looking at summary data, you'll never notice what
Mm.
those bad decisions are. That's a
Yeah.
really good
Right.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate you mentioning that. Well, thank you so much, Shriram, for joining us on the podcast today.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I
Thanks
really
for having me
appreciate.
here. I'm really enjoyed talking with you. So thanks a lot.
Absolutely. I appreciate the thoughtfulness you brought to this conversation. A lot of good stuff.
Thank you.
So just as a reminder, this is sponsored by the Money Operating System, where tech leaders gain clarity and control of their finances so they can live out the rest of their life with intention. If you want to know more about us, look me up on LinkedIn, Joe Morgan at Best Financial Life. Until our next episode, let's all focus on making the next right decision.